There are some funny epitaphs in the world, so let me show you some of them this morning. It says, I told you I was sick. Okay, let me out now. The child is crying. Santa Claus is dead. Wish you were here. Okay. Here lies atheist, sad, but so, all dressed up, but no place to go. An epitaph, by definition, is an inscription on a tombstone or monument. Epitaphs are usually brief texts honoring a deceased person, giving essential elements of their person's life. So people can get a glimpse into the life of the deceased by the epitaph. That is to say, it is a summary of one's life. In today's passage, we can see a tombstone. It is the tombstone of Rachel, Jacob's wife. Jacob set up a pillar before the grave of Rachel. Throughout his lifetime, Jacob set up 4 pillars to commemorate his encounter with God. He set up pillars 2 times where he had met God. Also, Jacob set up a pillar to seal mutual agreement with his father-in-law, Laban. Lastly, Jacob set up a tombstone when his wife Rachel was buried. Interesting enough, he had set up these pillars, tombstones, when he was encountered with life-changing events. Therefore, the death of his wife Rachel must have been significantly life-changing to Jacob. Rachel went into a life-threatening labor with her second son, Benjamin. When she was in hard labor, she was very concerned about the baby, afraid that the baby might be stillborn. So the midwife said, "Do not fear, you will have this son." The baby was born well, but unfortunately, Rachel passed away. Rachel's compassion and concern for new life was so impressive that in the Bible, Rachel is remembered as the person who really cared for those in suffering. This is the actual Rachel's tomb just outside Bethlehem in Israel. It is visited by tens of thousands visitors each year. One day I was walking around the church cemetery. With curiosity, I began to read the epitaphs on the tombstones there. There I found an interesting epitaph. It says, "Gone, but not forgotten." It is very simple, but I was deeply touched by the phrase, "Gone, but not forgotten." It is true, it tells well about our saints. They are gone, but they are still alive in our hearts, in our memory. Their laughter, tears, stories, memories are still in our hearts. Even though they passed away, they are still alive. George Bonanno is a professor of clinical psychology at Columbia University. He has focused on the study of loss and grief and published a book, "The Other Side of Sadness: what the new science of bereavement tells us about life after loss. I read the book, and I was very impressed by the book. I strongly recommend this book. Anyhow, in the book, he concludes the book with a statement of a mother who lost her daughter, Claire. She says, "It's a bit like a fading light. It grows dim, but never goes out, never, not completely, anyhow. I find that enormously reassuring. I used to worry that someday the light would disappear, that I would forget, and then I would really have lost Claire, my daughter. I know now that doesn't happen. It can't. There is always a little flicker there. It is a bit like the small glowing embers you see after a fire dies down. I carry that around with me, that little ember. And if I need to, if I want to have Claire next to me, I blow on it ever so gently, and it glows bright again." Unquote. Likewise, our saints are gone, but never forgotten in our hearts. Rachel's tombstone is still there. It represents that although Rachel is gone for a long time ago, she is still remembered by people. Likewise, our saints are gone, but they are still in our hearts. Today, we remember them. Someday, we will be also remembered by people. When our life is over, our children, friends, and church members will be standing before our grave. What will be they are saying about us? What is going to be inscribed in our epitaph? We have still an empty epitaph. Each of us is responsible for our own epitaphs. Let me conclude my sermon this morning with some spiritual epitaphs recommendable for you and for me. He says, "A picture completed, drawn by the master's hand. God needed another angel. Shed no tears for me. It must be awesome to see a rainbow from above." Brothers and sisters, our saints have become angels in heaven. They are watching over us from above. Jesus will take care of them well in our permanent home, heaven, until we meet again. Amen.